Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hold on, I sorted my mic out. Good morning and welcome to the Gentleman's Talk. Welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. Jumped on really early this morning actually because it was interesting. I did a podcast last night about overthinking, and it's sort of I reflect as you should with anything. If you talk about a subject, if you talk about if you talk openly, which is what we're trying to promote here, that sort of kind of positive thinking. We're trying to promote talking, being open and honest and all that sort of stuff. To try and sort of kind of build up a better surrounding for yourself, help develop yourself as a person. And it was interesting. I jumped on last night and I was in a very, very fucking horrible place yesterday. Very negative, very protective. I called it protective in my podcast yesterday, but I was I'd ostracized myself from the world. In a protection factor, I called it. But like with anything, it's really, really important that we analyze our conversations, we analyze what we've said, and I think that that's the only way you can grow. If I'm brutally honest, and I'm conscious that I do that every single time now. Every single time, whenever I do a podcast, and that's really my way of talking to somebody about my problems and my thoughts, my process, battling my own mental health. And I choose to talk because it's a platform that I enjoy. I enjoy talking about it. But God, it is early. I mean, I've got a cup of tea, which is unusual. Normally, I'm sat on here with a gin, but I haven't even grew my beard. That's how early it is. But that's how keen I was to talk on today because, like with anything, I'd spoken about overthinking yesterday, and I dived in quite in depth and I analysed the whole thing. So once I finished the podcast, I sat outside in my garden and, I was just not overthinking in the sense of what the topic was about, but I was just going over everything. So I went over everything. I analysed the whole conversation. I analysed all the sort of kind of the ups, the downs, and the nitty gritty. And that's obviously what I do anyway, as you probably know. If you've listened to the podcast, you'll understand that that's what I do with life. I analyse everything, but I try to turn it into a bit of a positive. And by turning it into a positive, what I mean is I think about everything I've said and I try to put it into context. And I think that's a really important process when you're dealing with mental health, is not to talk about something or to hit the topic head on and then just bury it back down again. Excuse me. I'm a sip of my cup of tea here. Outside of the British people, you probably won't be familiar with this, but a cup of tea in the morning is, honestly, it's like sex and drugs. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. Wunderbar. I've been playing a game, so it's a World War II game, so it's very, very German orientated. Anyway, so I analyse everything, and I think that if you can turn that into a positive, that's really important. So I went over everything that I did last night, everything I said, and do you know what? It's an interesting fact that a lot of the way through that you could tell I was in a horrible place. You could tell I was in a negative place because everything I said was negative. It was, I haven't got anyone to trust. Nobody I can trust with my own thoughts and processes, which would be a lie. And it is. I'm talking to you now. It is an open lie. I have got people I can talk to. I've got a best friend. I've got new friends that I know for a fact, if they're listening to this, that they'll be the last podcast, which is hence the reason why I jumped on early, because I wanted to combat that negative thought process and just also sort of kind of reinforce with the fact that that's mental health. It's crazy how mental health always leads you to a negative assumption. It always leads you down a negative path. It's almost as if you're consumed by it, you're driven down there, and you get that irrational thought. But it's interesting that you're kind of, when you actually analyze things, which is what I did last night. I analyzed it, I went to sleep, I slept on it, and I woke up this morning, and it spurred me to come straight on and go, I need to correct this, because that's not who I am. But that's important. It's understanding that mental health isn't who you are. When you have a mental health disorder, you're not your normal self. You're not living your best life. You are almost surviving, because that is what it is. Everything's driven towards negativity with mental health. Everything. And it's kind of like, it's an easy way out with mental health, because if you go negative, people will sympathize with you. Or people will just leave you alone, and sometimes it acts as kind of a double-edged sword, really. You want to be left alone in your mind, but you don't want to be left alone, because you want people to help you, but because you're going down that negative route, and an hour and a half of a conversation yesterday was me being negative, was me saying I've got fucking nobody, I retract that, actually, because it wasn't about that. I did have elements of negativity, but it is a coping mechanism, as in I do go into a protective state. So that all of that was factual. I unfortunately, I can't help that. I can't help the way that, I kind of go into that negative connotation, that kind of me dealing with things in a negative process. I can't help that. But what I can do is rectify some of the areas that I know are untrue, or some of the areas that I need to reinforce with positivity, to actually build a bigger picture and a better picture in mind of actually saying, because what I used to do was I used to harbour negative thoughts. I used to say nobody fucking wanted me, nobody fucking listened to me, I've been screaming this for fucking years. And an element of that would be true, but that's because mental health is so misunderstood. It's so nobody really understands it. I mean, even people that have got mental health don't understand it. I don't even think, psychiatrists and all that, they have to understand it. They're taught to understand it. But I had an interesting conversation with my psychiatrist, actually, and she was saying it's unbelievable how most of the symptoms are similar, but the way we harbour them all depends on our personality. And it's a really interesting process that you can have somebody who has negative thought processes, but will just stick with the negativity, because that's for them is the better process. They don't want to. It's not they don't want to help themselves, but some people do actually thrive on the negativity, and it gives them what they want. It feeds them what they want. Me, on the other hand, I'm quite a strong personality, so for me personally, to harbour negative thoughts just creates a negative atmosphere around me. And because I'm such a social person, I like to think I am a social person, and because I want change, because I want to improve myself, like I improve everything around me if I can, I want to undo that and unpick that. and ultimately that's what this journey is about. This journey is about me unpicking everything and being open, being honest, and analysing everything I say, and then trying to reinforce it with positivity. So that's why I jumped on this morning to go, yesterday I was talking openly about, my negative thoughts and how people didn't care and how I was shutting myself away from the world. I don't trust anybody. That's kind of where I went. And interesting fact is, everybody that's around me, because I do have a small network of people, if I openly said to them, I'm going to tell you something about me, 9 times out of 10, say for instance, my best mate, he'll probably know anyway. But other people, if I wanted to sit down with, say, my friend Billy or Nelly or even my brother, and sit down and said to them, I'm going to tell you something. I want your thoughts on it. I want your unbiased opinion, but it cannot leave past your lips. I would be able to trust them. So, but it's interesting how my negative thoughts, I haven't even woken up. I've got a croaky throat still. But it's interesting how my negative thought pushed them away. My protection factor pushed them away, and almost gave an open negative spin on them, as if to say, I want you to fucking hate me. I want you to stop talking to me. I want you to not engage with me. Or the opposite, I could have said, and let's put a positive spin on it. I could have been screaming out for them for them to approach me and go, "What you on about, mate? Oh, you tell me fucking anything." And it was almost like an opener. It was like an open-ended conversation, really. It was kind of, could have gone down any path. But my negative path would have drawn me towards chinning everybody off. No, I'm not interested. I can't fucking trust you. You know, those sort of things. So I wanted to jump on this morning, you know, to ultimately reinforce some positivity into that for myself, because this is what this is about. This is a journey for myself, and hopefully along the way I can give support and advice to other people, because, you know, hopefully I've researched it enough to really add some depth to it, but also sort of kind of underpin it with my own experiences to show. And this is a way of me jumping on and saying, you know, we're bettering ourselves here. We're 6 months in, we're bettering ourselves. It is a constant battle. This is a lifetime battle for me, which is why I enjoy this process, because I know that it's a lifetime battle. I know I'm going to have ups. I know I'm going to have downs. But if I'd have sat and dwelled on, you know, the negative thoughts of yesterday, and I hadn't have got the response that I think I would have wanted, which was them coming to me and going, "Mate, absolutely, you can fucking trust me. What are you talking about?" If I'd have done that, I would have then overthought, and I would have gone into an even deeper place. I'd have gone to a darker place, because they wouldn't have given me the confirmation that wasn't factual, and that might be the case. People may just want to do that. They may just, you know, go, I'm not going to bow down to him, you know, opening up to me like that and saying like that to me. And they could have gone into a negative spin. So it kind of, I needed to come on to say, actually, I do have people I can trust. But it was interesting when I was sort of thinking about things last night, and I was kind of, you know, I was laid in bed and I was going over the whole conversation, because, like I said, it's really important to analyze your process. Excuse me a second. I'm going to have a quick sip of tea. Bear with me. Tea is wonderful. Tea is wonderful. Welcome to the British world of life, where we have a nice cup of tea in the morning, clear the throat, and add a little bit of moisture to the throat. Especially when you wake up, you jump downstairs and you come straight on a podcast to talk. So, and the definition, there's a definition for negativity. And I'll read it out to you. So, negative thinking refers to a pattern of thinking negatively about yourself and your surroundings. While everyone experiences negative thoughts now and again, which we do, negative thinking that seriously affects the way you think about yourself and the world, and even interferes with your work, study and life and everyday functioning, could be a symptom of mental illness. And that's where I'm talking from my experience, including depression, anxiety, personality disorder or schizophrenia. So it's interesting. We have negative thoughts. We all do. We all have negative connotations with work. We might have a negative thought process to somebody at work who's lazy and doesn't do anything. That's not the type of negativity I'm talking about. You know, I'm talking about the deeper thoughts of negativity. And the key word there was yourself and your surroundings. It's an interesting thought process with negativity, because if you let negativity define who you are, you then harbor those negative thoughts, you then overthink, you then go deeper into your depression, which is what I've did for 10 years. For 10 years, I battled with the fact that I didn't want anybody. I shut myself away until I wouldn't want to come out. And that was because I'd like, oh, we're going to go and do something for the day here. We're going to go out and have a bit of fun. Because I was ready, and I would almost force people to do that because I wanted the fun. So we're going to have fucking fun on this day. And that's almost like even when I analysed that from the other day, I was thinking about my other podcast where I talk about and managing my day and managing my plans. It's almost as if I go, right, that's when I want to do something. So let's fucking lock it in, because I want to do that. And it's almost that's quite a negative thought process. In actual fact, if you let life flow to a degree, because we all need to have an element of planning, because, you know, I am a father and a husband, so I do have to plan around those factors. But it's interesting that I plan ahead and I expect everybody to, you know, be available for that day rather than that spontaneity kind of thing. And then I harbour negative thoughts when they don't turn up to it, or they let me down. And it was interesting. I've actually got a friend of mine that's not someone I've spoke to recently, or not someone I've spoken about on my podcast before, but a recent friend who I engage with every now and then. And he's done the same. He's literally just ignored me. So you know, it's kind of like, okay, mate, thanks. You know, but if you have those negative connotations all the time, it does define who you are. You do become that person that nobody wants to be around because you do harbour negativity. And I'm very much like, I had a conversation in work the other month, and there was a lot of negativity surrounding this new role, etc., etc. And I kind of went, look, let's not look at this negatively, because if we do, we're failing before we've even started. Because when you go into work, and all you hear is negativity, and you hear is, oh, fucking, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, or we haven't done this, we haven't done that, what the fuck are we doing? When you constantly talk like that, it just, you constantly beat yourself up, and you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to fucking be here, because all that is negativity. There's no positivity in this. There's no fun aspect. And although work shouldn't be fun to a degree, I mean, it should be. I'd love it to be fucking fun daily. But we have to understand that work does come with seriousness, which can harbour negativity, because people will be reluctant to, you know, kind of dive down the negative route of work, because it normally means more work. If you're on a negative approach to work, especially within health and safety, for me, it is surrounded by negativity to health and safety, because, you know, you're finding things that are problems all the time, and you're constantly battling. Like, I can't really emphasize how negative health and safety is as a broad trade, really. But because obviously you're fighting with people all the time, you're battling. People think, oh, the fucking health and safety advisor come around, what a fucking bell end, you know. And they kind of go down that point, and then you go, oh, so you've walked in with a smiling face, come in to just help, because that's what you're trying to nurture, is a safe working environment. But when you walk in and you get that negativity, you've then got to try and knock down those barriers of that person to try and bring them up. And if you've got a strong personality, I like to think I do, which is where I sort of excel then, because I break down those barriers quite quickly and go, this is what we're here for. But if you let that define who you are, it's like being a nurse. Probably a little bit more relatable to people than health and safety, because we all think health and safety is fucking shit. But if you're a nurse, for instance, you'll go into an element of your work where you're surrounded by negativity. You're surrounded by ill people, overworked people, underpaid people. So your staff are on a negative approach. Your patients are on a negative approach, because they're not come there for fucking shits and giggles, have they? They haven't gone, I'm going to go to the hospital, mate. Why? Just, I'm going to go and say hello, mate. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm going to go and say hello. You don't. You go there because you're fucking feeling ill, or you're on death's door. So you're surrounded by negativity. So that's why we see a massive mental health problem within the sort of our NHS system, but in a lot of the medical systems, there's a lot of negativity, because we're all overworked and underpaid. You see it in the military, you know, when you're set on exercise all the time. Christ, I remember when I was in Afghan in 2006, I think it was, 2007. And the negativity that surrounded that place was 6 months of pure negativity. I didn't allow that. I kind of went, right, now I'm going to focus on getting fit, you know, running in the desert. You know, you shed weight like crazy because you're sweating all the time. It was like 42 degrees. So, you know, I turned my time into putting some music in and going for a run. So because I was surrounded by negativity, you had a lot of people there that didn't want to be there. You had a lot of people there that were, you're doing a shit job, you're living in shit accommodation, you haven't got any fun aspect. All right, yeah, we had Pizza Hut out there, which was, you know, the American side of things that brought out of us. But you don't get your social aspect, you don't get your nightlife, you don't get the freedom you would. You could see a lot of frustration, especially with the fact that it was, you know, 70, 80% men, no females. So you could see the frustration in 6-7 month tours. So we're surrounded by a lot of negativity, aren't we? But if you let it define who you are and don't change the aspect of that, that's when I think that it turns into bigger things, bigger problems. And that's where I jumped on this morning to go, actually, I have got a support network. I was just in a very negative place, but I wanted to debunk that. I wanted to, kind of get rid of it and go, actually, yes, there was an element of negativity. Yes, there was an element of protection. I do that as a natural factor. We all do that. If you feel that you're in a horrible place, we'll all shut down. We have to shut down because, our brain says shut down. Like I said to you, depression yesterday is, there we go. Depression is your way of your body saying, fuck you. It's a way of saying, I'm not interested in this. So you do go into that protection zone. And I think that once you've had years and years and years of depression, or even just, you learn that as a coping mechanism. So you naturally go there. Like I said to you, if you do something for 3 months, it becomes excuse me a second, sorry. I'm going to have another sip of tea. Bear with me. This is what happens when you don't wake up and you get excited to talk. But because you're harbouring those negative thoughts, and because you've instilled this, and like I said to you, you do something for 3 months, it becomes negative, it becomes routine. So it is routine for me to shut down. It is routine for me to, say fuck the world, and I protect myself. And when you've been to the depths of the darkest points you can, you don't want to go there, so you try to protect yourself. And that has negative connotations linked to it, because then you've shut yourself away from the world. You've shut yourself away from any of the positivity that could be there. So you then turn on the people that have, that are closest to you and go, you've not been there for me. You're fucking bastards. You bastard. You then kind of turn against them. Now, normally you wouldn't turn against them and they would know about it. Because they'll just be like, oh, fucking James is quiet today, or James is quiet this week. And if I'd done it for a couple of days, I know for a fact that my friends would say, fucking hell, is everything all right, mate? So that's the positive of what I've nurtured around me, those people around me, especially especially Nelly and Kieran. We have this positive vibe thing. We haven't done it over the last couple of days. I haven't done it because I haven't been in the greatest of places. And we normally talk every morning. We haven't done it the last couple of mornings. And I do think that my friend Nelly at the time, when he gets those messages, it perks him up, and then he comes in. So he's not the natural leader side in the group, if you like. He's a great part. He's an amazing, fun aspect to our group. So, but he thrives on people like myself going, "Hey, morning," and then he goes, "Hey, morning," and we kind of go through there. But when I don't do it, and certainly when my other friend Kieran doesn't do it, it kind of brings us all down, because we work as a functioning system. So, and I think that's really good in friendships, to have everyone with a different dynamic in the group. Ultimately, if you've all got everyone in your group that's the same dynamic, and if we all deal with things the same way, you're not going to progress, because you haven't got no diversity in that group. And you need to understand what your position in the group is as well, so you can help with the negativity. So, but it's hard, because I'm a natural leader. I enjoy leading. It's basically what I thrive on. So when I don't do it, you can see that the cogs then stop turning a little bit. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and I theoretically am the weakest link. There's a TV show on that, and I know I'm the weakest link, because everyone around me that is in my little support network and my friendship zone, they're all positive people, but they're not used to leading. They like to be led, or they've not liked to be led. I think because I've naturally taken the lead on things, when I don't do something, they don't tend to do some things themselves. So when I fail, and this is where I say I'm the weakest link, because I can be that strongest character. I can go, let's fucking do this. Let's do that. Let's go here. When I don't do that, excuse me a second. I'm just gonna give me 30 seconds. Hold on. And I'm back in the room, baby. wake up, sip of tea. I had to just clear my throat. I hadn't cleared my throat or anything since I woke up. I literally run downstairs and was like, I need to go on a podcast. Sip of tea. Sip of tea. Sip of tea always helps. But so it's interesting that I characterise myself as a leader. But I also characterise myself as the weakest link in most cases, because when I'm not functioning, when I'm not pushing things and driving things, it does tend to fail, because I rely on me in the sense that I plan everything. I rely on me in the fact that I research everything, so I know that it's going to be a good time or a good occasion, or we're going to have fun. And I'll normally push it and plan everything so that people don't have to stress and worry, because they're like, no, James has said be here for this fucking time. It's going to take this, Whereas my friends around me are very relaxed, so they kind of take a bit of a back seat, and they bring the fun. They bring the support. They are the support network for me. But when I drop down, and this is where I talk about me being the weakest link, when I drop down, as I have this week, because this impromptu week of doing nothing has crippled me. So when I don't do it, it then fails, and before you know it, the cogs have stopped turning, or because the chain's split, it's broke. It's me. I'm the weakest link. So it was really important, and I shut myself away, and I forced myself to talk yesterday. And I got a lot out of it, and it is important to acknowledge the fact that talking and being open does help so much, and that's where I spoke yesterday about overthinking, having that person to trust. But I was in a negative place, and if I don't, as you well know, I don't listen back to my podcast, because I openly talk. It's a way of me processing everything, and if I'd have dealt with it, I might have been able to deal with it sooner, but I didn't. And so I spoke yesterday, overanalyzed everything, as I do, but in a positive way, and went, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? You've got friends that will listen to you. If you told them that I'm going to tell you this in confidence, I don't want it being fucking past your lips. It's me basically talking to you openly. I know for a fact that they would understand that, because the people around me understand the importance of trust and how important it is for me, because trust, I've had my trust broken so many times that the people that are around me are so important, because I know I can trust them. But it's interesting how my negative thought process yesterday went, nope, the fucking world hates me. I don't like the fucking world. I shut myself away. I was a really horrible person yesterday. Not horrible in the sense I didn't target anybody, but I was just not a nice person to be around. I could tell that yesterday with regards to the way that I was with my wife, and she was she just goes quiet because she's like, she doesn't want the argument. And it's interesting, and as we just said there, when we refer to our negativity, it does affect yourself, because you look at the world in a horrible light. You look at it as a black light, it's that fog, and that fog had well and truly consumed me. And I keep talking about the brain fog, and that's what I think it is. It's the only way that I can really define what mental health is for me. It's a fog over my head, and I'm not living my best life. I'm just existing. And that's not a fun thing to do. It's not a fun thing to just exist. So I'm trying to counter those negative thoughts and the overthinking thoughts with different processes. Like I spoke about the journal. I spoke about managing your calendar through apps. We've got all of these things, and we don't use technology to the best advantage, do we? We use technology to watch videos of fucking people getting smacked in the back with a skateboard that's lined in fucking tack pins. That goes to show what the fucking video I watched yesterday. And I just think to myself, okay, it's Jackass style, or or Dirty Sanchez style, which is kind of the era that I grew up on, and I still can't believe it's still going on now. But obviously there's another generation that think they can be just as funny. But for me, it's been done, and I've got the t-shirt for that, so I don't find that interesting. I actually think, fucking hell, mate, you're hurting yourself. You know what I mean? But I think that's probably my age. I think it's my age as well, because I'm in that adulthood now. I tend to go, fucking hell, mate, that's going to hurt. But at the same time, if I was with my friends having a laugh, I'd be like, yeah, fucking smack my back and video it. You know what I mean? Because I'm stupid like that. And hold on. and I want my tea to go cold, and I want to enjoy it because it's lovely. So, if you're someone who analyzes your thoughts, it can be challenging to differentiate negative thinking from your regular worries. We all have regular worries. That sort of kind of feeling sad about an upsetting event, or, the financial burdens or relationship troubles. We can manifest those in such difficult ways that, what we don't do is we don't challenge them. We don't head them on, do we? We just kind of go, oh, that's it, fucking done. And it then affects something. If you don't talk about the negatives, and this is where I'm saying I'm underpinning my negative from yesterday with a positive to go, actually fucking stop, James. You have got this support network around you. You have got people around you that love you and care. And I'm just highlighting the fact that from that podcast yesterday to where I am today is two different people. It's Jekyll and Hyde. I think I get called Jekyll and Hyde all the time in my household. And that's mental health. You are Jekyll and Hyde as mental health. If you don't know what Jekyll and Hyde is, then please research it. It's a really good. It's a character. But I always refer to Jekyll and Hyde as like that bipolar tendency. You kind of go up and down. And unfortunately, with PTSD and the way that PTSD works, you do tend to have a Jekyll and Hyde approach to life, because if something affects you with PTSD, you react like that. And that reaction can be the lint that lights the fucking fire. And then before you know it, if you're like me and you're quite a strong personality, you'll tend to affect everybody around you. And that's why I wanted to jump on today to go, actually, I've got people that listen to this that do care about me. So fucking stop, because you're then going to promote negativity around them, and they're going to go, fucking hell, I'm always here for you. What are you on about, mate? And they're going to probably go back to their wives or partners or whatever and go, fucking hell, this knobhead here, he says I'm not there for him. You know what I mean? And they'll naturally shut themselves away from me, because they'll be thinking I'm not interested in that, or I'm harbouring the negative thoughts. So I want to jump on and go, actually, fucking no, I do appreciate what I've got, but acknowledging that mental health you can't choose what your mental health does. If you're in control and you're normal functioning, and you're kind of at the point where you can control, it's like, for me, financial burdens is a crippler for me. I bury my head in the sand with it. But you might be one of these people that goes, okay, I understand I've got a problem here. I need to get myself out of it. And I have the skill set to get myself out of it, but I just, because of the mental health condition, I don't. I just bury my head in the fucking sand and hope it goes away. But then I relieve the burden from me, but I put it on my wife, and my wife then goes, fucking, she takes the burden of finances, but then I'll take the burden for everything else. So it's kind of like, it's worked. It's taken 20 odd years, but it's worked. But yeah, I wanted to, thinking about sort of kind of, there's different causes to negative thinking. So such like, the fear of the future. And people often fear the unknown, don't they? They're unsure of what the future might bring. This often leads to catastrophizing. I think that's the word, catastrophizing things, which means always predicting the failure and disaster. And if you're an overthinker, if you've got mental health problems, you'll do this naturally. You'll naturally catastrophize everything. You'll naturally look and go, fucking, everyone fucking hates me, or that's going to cause me a problem. You don't get past it to look at the positivity. You just kind of go, nah, I'm fucking done. I'm not interested. But this whole journey is about breaking the stigma. It's about undoing the negative thoughts, processing them, analysing them, and then turning them into a positive, and actually going, don't catastrophize everything. Don't fear the future. Don't fear the unknown. And I've said this before in a podcast where I've said, if you can't see, if you're climbing the steps, for instance, and that, you're looking up the hill of steps, you can't see it because the fog's there. And I talk about fog, brain fog. But you can see the first step in front of you. Just take that one. And then when you look again, you still can't see, but the next step you can see. So just take that one. And continue to do that until you get to a point where everything starts clearing. Because at the end of the day, if you reflect back to my podcasts 6 months ago and listen to those ones, you'll hopefully see a difference in me. because you'll see the way that I was dealing with things, the way that I thought about processes. You'll see an element of excitement, and now you're seeing an element of this throat is absolutely annoying me. Hold on. It's absolutely doing my head. I couldn't clear it. So I've always feared the future, and I've never really looked at the future and gone, I want to see this. I've had elements, but like, for instance, I wanted to get promoted, and my promotion was, I want to get promoted in 5 years. Because of my personality, I did it in a year. I was like, fucking, and I pushed myself to do it. So I'd put a bit of stress on myself. I'd given myself a goal and completely and utterly fucking, went out the window. And that's probably the ADHD in me. And then obviously I thought, the PTSD side of things takes over, and I think about negative thought processes. So, but if you're someone that thinks about negativity, you might fear the future. You might even have anxiety about the present. Anxiety about the present is sort of understandable because we don't know what's going to happen. So we all have an element of anxiety, but sometimes that anxiety can manifest like it does with me. Certainly, my anxiety has gotten worse. I'm not going to lie to you. It's gotten worse because I'm pushing myself harder and harder all the time to push the boundaries and undo this depression, this PTSD, try and manage it on a better basis, to go from existing to living my best life. Because at the moment, I'm not living my best life. I do fear the future. I question the future a lot. I question my purpose a lot. And that's the mental health side of me. So I kind of have anxiety about the present as well, because I'm kind of like, like I said, the anxiety about the present would have been a fully relatable situation. And this week, because I was like, my fucking friends aren't contacting me. No one's asked me how I am. And that is then, maybe they're busy. I don't know. I will say and caveat that with, nobody should be too busy to send a message to say how you are. And I've spoken about that before. And because I wasn't getting how you are, I've kind of shut myself away. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? It makes me sigh. Many of us do worry about what people think of us, or whether we're doing a good job. Negative things often come up with the worst case scenario, especially if you've got mental health problems. We worry you go to work. We might worry that our wife doesn't like us, or our children don't like us, or our boss doesn't like us, or whatever. Or, so we have this natural anxiety, but some people don't care. But I challenge anybody that doesn't care, that doesn't worry that someone doesn't like them, or they're not performing to their best. People that don't think about that are very arrogant, or they're very naive, I think, because they're in their own little world. But I certainly reflect back to somebody that I used to work with, and I spoke about this actually yesterday when I was analysing everything, and I had someone I used to work with who was fucking god awful at work. I mean, god awful at work. And I tried to nurture him as best as I could, and I did everything I could. I put things in place for him. I pushed him towards sort of kind of mental health, because I knew he was struggling with mental health, but in actual fact, it was just fucking laziness, if I'm brutally honest. But I did everything I could to nurture him, and he was due for a promotion at this particular point, and I said to him, I called him in the office and said, I'm sorry, mate, but I can't promote you because you're not achieving. I've put it down in your assessments. I've written in your assessments that you're not achieving, because I have to record this, and you need to sign it. And he read it and signed it. And then all of a sudden he came into work one day and broke down into tears with me and said it was my fault. He said I was bullying him and holding him back because he wanted the money. And he wanted to see the extra wages. Well, I was like, well, you've got to earn that. And I'm very much like that. I'm very much, you earn your place in life. If you want more money, you want promotion, you want anything else, it's not a given. You need to fucking earn it. And he wasn't. So I knew that he would have gone into that position and done even less, which, from my experience, even now talking about him, I know for a fact that I don't think he's fucking changed. He's just, they've taken the easy option. But I'm not like that. I want people to work. I want people to prove that for them. But anyway, I digressed, didn't I, massively there. But anxiety about present is going to happen. It's going to happen. But depending on your personality, depending on your mental health state, depends on how you procrastinate about that. You may go, okay, he doesn't like me, but I'm going to turn things around. Or you may go up to him and say, what do you think about me? Can I have some sort of 180 reporting? Can you can I ask you, an honest opinion of how you think I'm achieving? And if you get a full picture and that person's honest, and I was always honest, you'll understand where you can go right and where you can go wrong. And obviously, some people even have anxiety or negative thoughts if they've had a difficult past, which a lot of us do. I certainly do. I have a lot of negativity about my past that I haven't moved on from, and this is where I'm trying to challenge the present to make a better future. Because at the end of the day, it's in the past for a reason. It's called the past because you can't change it. It's called the future because it's the unknown, and we call the present because it's a gift. So, that's the way you should really look at life. You should look at it like that, because the present is a gift. You are here as a gift. So you need to make the best out of your situation. You need to promote positivity. You need to live your best life. Now, whatever you need to do to achieve that, you need to grab the bull by the horns and do it, because nobody's going to do it for you. And I need to reiterate that. Nobody is going to make a change for you. You have to make this change. I made this change 6 months ago. I said, I've lived in fucking crippling mental health for 10 years. I can't keep doing it. I've put on a brave face for fucking years. I need to deal with this so I can be a better functioning adult, a better friend, a better husband, a better father, a better son, a better brother. All of these I haven't been good at. I don't think I've been good at any of them. Like I said, I've been the weakest link. So I'm now challenging myself, and only you can do that. If you've got a mental health problem, don't sit there and wait for somebody to fucking do it for you. Don't sit there and wait for somebody to give you a miracle cure or a miracle conversation, because it's just not going to happen. You have to nurture it. You have to develop it. You have to build it. Build relationships with people. Build everything. It starts from stripping yourself down raw, understanding that you're the one with the concern here. Excuse me, I'm talking way too much. Understand that you're the one that's going to have the problem. So, you don't have to sort of kind of succumb to the life of negative thinking, although it's really hard once you're in that negative spin to get out of it. And if I'd have carried on from yesterday and not jumped on from today, I would have harbored that into next week. I would have harbored it into my work. I would have harbored it into the people I work alongside. So, and ultimately I'd have left a podcast with a lot of negativity towards my support network. So, sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to leave or let people know that you're not going to be there for them constantly, and you're not going to be the strongest link all the time. You need to work as a team, because at the end of the day, there's no I in team. Yes, there's going to be people going, there's a me in team though. Yeah, all right, mate, but that's a negative spin on a positive fucking analogy, isn't it? And I used to say that all the time. I said, no I in team. And then all of a sudden some fucking prick come up with, yeah, but there's me. All right, mate. You're being a prick now, mate. You're turning a positive fucking analogy into a negative. So don't be a dick. So literally swash those things aside. And there is some sort of basic counteracting techniques that we can learn to get rid of these negative thoughts by intercepting them before they come consuming. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm intercepting these negative thoughts now, reinforcing them by talking openly, and acknowledging the fact that yesterday was a different James. Yesterday was, Hyde and Jekyll, and today is Hyde. It's almost that analogy. So, but the key part to this is practicing counteracting exercises. Every time you have a negative thought, don't give up, and manifest it and let it grow, and then get to the point where you are sat there in a dark fucking room questioning fucking life, questioning why no one loves you. Don't do that. We need to attack it. We need to, like I'm doing here, I'm talking openly, going fuck everything. Yes, that was negative James yesterday, but here I am now. I'm trying to show myself in a different light. I'm trying to battle it, and it's not going to go away today. It's absolutely not. But what I'm doing is I'm putting a positive spin on it now, so that I can build blocks for the next week and actually build things back again. I don't think it doesn't go away. Mental health doesn't just disappear overnight. And I've written down 5 questions that you can ask yourself through a bit of research that you can do in your head. And one of the most important parts of it, though, is writing your answers down. And this is where I can't emphasize any more, and I will emphasize more, but today is write those answers down in your journal. And the journal is so important to have. It's such an old school way of thinking. We used to have especially in my youth, really, we used to have secret diaries where you would write stuff down, but you didn't really, you wrote down fucking stuff in there about your love life and stuff like that. And there is some people out there that will write a journal from an early days. I know, for instance, my dad keeps a journal. Not something, like I said, I've spoken about this before, not something I want to read until I'm sort of kind of ready, because for me, it will probably have a lot of negativity because we've had a roller coaster of a relationship as father and son. And I can already feel myself welling up a little bit inside, actually, thinking about that diary, because the importance of that diary, and also the fact of how important my diary is to me. But anyway, so there's 5 little questions that I've written down. So I'll go for it. Number 1, is the thought true? Is there a basis for your negative belief? So write that down. These are things you can think in your head. So is the thought true, and is there basis for the negative belief? And then write down your answer. So write down number 1 and then write down your answer. Is the thought giving you power, or is it taking power away? Now that's a powerful statement, sentence in its own. Is the thought you're doing, is it giving you power? Is it giving you drive? Are you going negative because it's, for instance, you've got trying to put it into a bit of context. You've got a work colleague, he's doing a fucking shit job. So your negative connotation is he's doing a shit job, but what it is doing is giving you power to do a better job and shine. So that is a positive connotation to a negative thought. So I would write down, that is my little quip, my little part. Or is it taking power away? And we all know negativity 9 times out of 10 will take power away from you, because it hinders you, it hinders progress. Same as overthinking. And we're talking about 2 topics here that are very similar, overthinking and negativity. Can you put a positive spin on your thoughts or learn from it? That's another one. Number 3 there, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm putting a positive spin on a negative thought from yesterday, and I'm learning from it. So and this is where I'm talking. Every time I do this, every time I challenge myself, my negative thought processes, and put a positive spin on it by jumping on the podcast and talking on a live podcast to you, I'm putting a positive spin on it. And already now I feel the smile in my face. I feel warmer. I've got a cup of tea. I've got some good music on the background. And I feel this is going to be a day of music and just relaxing. But I can relax because yesterday I was tense. I was tight. My back was fucking killing me because I was harbouring so much negativity to my surroundings that it consumed me. It did. And everything in, like I said, mental health is consuming. It's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. It's physically exhausting. That it wipes you out from head to toe. And last night I was exhausted. I had to talk because I had to get it off my mind. I'd written down loads of stuff in my journal, and I'd written down stuff in my notes, and I was like, I need to talk about this so I can openly analyze it, because once it's out there, I can analyze these things, because as you talk, you process things naturally, and you put it in you put it into your short-term memory quickly, and then you go, right, I'm here to challenge this. So I'm learning from it, and this is where I'm adapting, I'm talking, and I'm going, actually, I'm openly challenging myself here and bettering myself. So, we can learn from it, and we have to learn from it. If we don't learn from it, then we're not progressing in life. And again, we refer back to, you're existing and you're not living your best life. So we have to learn from it. If you're not going to learn, you're not going to progress. And this is what this is about. This whole podcast, this gentleman's talk, is about progression. Number 4, what would your life look like if you didn't have these negative beliefs? Now, if we didn't have negative beliefs, then the fucking sun shined out of our arse, doesn't it? Because negativity you can have, like I said, you can have a positive aspect to a negative belief, but understanding, say for instance, when we refer back to number 2, is it giving you power? And I referred back to the the example of, say, your colleagues being lazy and or your boss is being lazy, for instance, which I've had a lot of experience in. My boss being lazy, and I've turned it into a positive by being better and pushing myself forward, but understanding that that doesn't always work. There's always going to be a negative element to that, because number one, you're going to probably make that person look bad, which is going to harbor kind of resentment from them. Then you're also going to get to the point where you're putting a lot more stress on yourself to be better than them, and you're actually underpinning their laziness by them not doing stuff. So I tend to believe that anything negative is negative for a reason. I think it is, and we can turn it into a positive by challenging that and actually go and just move yourself away from these situations, or take your mind process out of it and just do what you've got to do. You don't have to be better than that person, because you might just be better than that person naturally. So just do your natural course. So if we didn't have negativity, the world would be a better place, wouldn't it? 100%, because everybody, wars are started with negativity, and that is kind of the that is kind of the foundation. If you can start a war with negativity, it may not be a World War III. We're on the cusp of that, I believe. Not that I've watched the news for about 9 weeks now, because I'm just not interested in that, in reinforcing my negativity, because I do believe that since coronavirus hit the world, I'm really, and this is not getting into politics, but coronavirus was the biggest thing since fucking sliced bread. It was wiping us out. It was fucking killing us. It was crippling us everywhere. And the media portrayed that. And then all of a sudden, when the government decided in the UK that fucking COVID no longer exists, we're not pushing vaccinations anymore. I've not heard a fucking damn thing about it, but it's still massively out there, like to the point where I actually avoided it for 2.5 fucking years and got it in the time when we were just shutting down. And I know that you could put that into a bit of a spin and gone, well, we're out more because we've shut it down. But I believe that media drives all of the negativity. So I've kind of got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to watch the news anymore. I don't really care about the news. I just want to care about what's around me. I care about the news in relation to my job role, which is health and safety. So I look at those aspects, and I don't tend to underpin it with horribly negative beliefs and watching it being chucked in my face for an hour a fucking day by newsreaders that just promote pure negativity. There's no positive stories in the news, are they? And we need more positivity. And I draw back to my job, and I said that negativity around health and safety is the fundamental basics to health and safety. Is quite a negative world. However, one of the biggest factors for me and why I enjoy the job is there's a positive aspect, and a really big positive aspect, because you're making people safe. You are predominantly saving lives. You're investigating things so that they don't happen again. So, for me personally, that outweighs me walking in and having to battle with somebody who's put their barriers up against health and safety. I enjoy the element of putting in positive spins on for them. So I look at my outlook actually as quite positive, and I look at it and go, I'm helping save people. I'm looking around environments and going, and I'm analysing ways to make them safer that is normally 9 times out of 10 right in front of them, but they don't see it because they're not engaged with it. It's not part of their remit. We've all battled against health and safety for years and years and years, and I think that the old school health and safety factor is what's caused the problem. All these old generational people that have taken the power of health and safety and gone, if I can do this, if I can do that, rather than actually going in and going, mate, pulling yourself down to their level. Why are you fucking daisy chaining, buddy? You've got fucking 4 sockets there. Oh no, but it's easier. No, but it might be easier, mate, but you're gonna fucking set a fire, mate, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And then when you unplug things, and I did this recently, I unplugged everything, plugged it all in, took away his unnecessary things that he didn't need, and he looked at me and went, "Was it that easy?" I'm like, "It really is that easy." And then you kind of get to the point where they make a bit of banter with you. And before I left, I had I really engaged with somebody who's actually massively against health and safety, and he was a really good guy, but he just fucking hated health and safety. He felt like it hindered him, and I'd engaged with him quite a bit, and he gave me a personal gift. He gave me I say a personal gift. It was a box of sweets and a poem, and it was a poem about the funny side of health and safety, and I really fucking enjoyed the way that was. I'd nurtured that, and it had turned it into the point where what he'd done then was then he promoted health and safety for us. So he was like, no, don't do that, because James will be round and he'll fucking say this. Just do this, this, and this. And that's what it's about. It's about it's about the chain reaction. So you only have to do something at the start, and it might be quite big, but if you do it in the right way, the chain reaction is it sparks him to look after the next person, and then he promotes your positivity to the next person, and it's so forth. And before you know it, that's how it works. That's how we become safer. So it's really important. But looking at negative beliefs, do I think that it would be, would it be different? Absolutely, absolutely. So we need to challenge those negative beliefs. Number 5, is the thought glossing over an issue that needs addressing? And that's a big one, isn't it? That yes, it is. It always is. You might be going negative because you don't want, like finances, for instance. I'm negative, fucking bury my head in the sand. Does it need addressing? Well, yeah. So I need to challenge that. So I need to change my thought process. So, and just to wrap up, because I need to go and get some breakfast. Remembering that counteracting negative thoughts does take time and commitment. Excuse me. A little sip of tea before I do my closing thoughts. Remembering that counteracting negative thoughts does take time. It does take commitment. And this is where I've jumped straight on to show commitment. We often require ongoing help from a mental health professional, say for instance a psychiatrist, to change negative thoughts into sort of positive thoughts. And like I said, I dealt with my CBT therapist, so cognitive behavior therapist, and I had 38 therapy sessions. I've paid for a couple in my own time, which I've had to do because I haven't seen a therapist for a long time, and then I had to do it for the understanding of the ADHD that I was diagnosed with, which is why it was really important to get it diagnosed privately, because I wanted it done quicker. And I'm not saying there is a flaw in the mental health system in terms of in terms of the NHS system. It is quite slow and there's not a lot of resources there. But what I'm trying to do is I've paid for it to better myself, to hopefully promote this on my podcast and give people that positive reinforcement. Let them know that they don't have to battle it on their own. So, yeah, challenging everything is really important. Sorry. I didn't even realise you guys are on. Sorry, I had it down on your thingy. So let me just read through these. Oh shit, me, you've all been on. Jesus Christ, guys. Hey brother, sorry to hear that, bro. Oh mate, guys, love it. Absolutely, catastrophic thinking. I think if we had been trained for the. Oh, sorry guys. How are we all? Let me just. Sorry guys, I literally, my screen closed down, so I just rattled off my thought processes this morning. So, how is everyone? Hope you're okay. Hey, Jim Bob, morning. Yeah, guys, you guys are literally legends. Thanks for following. Thanks for saying hello. Good rant. It was. And do you know what, mate? It's, all good, G. Yeah, nice, Nelly. I'm gonna ring you, Nelly. I'll ring you, Nelly, in a bit, mate. I'm gonna have a quick bite to eat, mate, and I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna take my headphones on, mate, and I'll give you a listen. Lingalonga, mate, how are you, buddy? I've been listening to your little podcast, mate. You've been on live quite a bit, so nice to hear from you guys. But yeah, negative thoughts. I'm gonna. Yeah, he's going to go for a walk. Thanks, mate. Nice. I'll have to do a little podcast. I'm going to do one tonight. So if anyone's about tonight, I know you'll probably be sleeping, Linga, mate. But I'm going to do another podcast tonight. But I want to do a little jump on and get everyone involved. But But it's interesting, isn't it? Negative thinking. It kind of completely and utterly ruins you. Yeah, we are in opposite shifts. We are in opposite shifts, mate. Well, what I'll do then, I'll jump on tomorrow, mate, and I'll do another little chat with you, mate, because I enjoyed our last little discussion. But yeah, it's what's it say? Someone always awake though. Yeah, I know, mate. I'm always awake as well. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to jump on really to sort of kind of underpin my negative thinking yesterday, because my podcast yesterday was fucking. I mean, although it was very insightful, although I got a lot out of it in the sense of I'm able to talk to you today because um, it's given me the process, and that's how important it is to talk about things, be open and honest. Like I said, I've gone back and I'm looking there. Yeah, Nelly, how it's missed me, he doesn't know, with COVID and all this sort of stuff. Just removing that negativity from your life, and just we have an element of negativity. We have to, because I think that negative thought processes can help you. It can. It doesn't have to hinder you. Um, Yeah, there's always a you in. Yeah, there is. I'm not sure I can say. There isn't. And do you know what, mate? I've always lived by that analogy. There's no I in team. Such a big team player. It's unbelievable. In the sense that I challenge anybody that is selfish, because you can't go through life being selfish, because everything is harder. From my experience, and it's only 40 years. Um, It is bad for the immune system. Exactly that, mate. At 110%. For me personally, it's about. I want to dive into this a little bit more with you, actually. So I'll dive in a bit more. I just need to get some breakfast. But what it negative thinking. It offers stress. It harbors tension, which then promotes your depressive state. It's just a world of uncertainty. Positive thinking is just, it promotes, it's just better for you. It's better for you. There's no easy way of saying it, really. And teamwork makes the dream work, doesn't it? It's kind of like that whole. I am hungry. I'm not quite hungry yet, but I'm getting to hungry. I've woken up. So yeah, stay true. Platinum Jubilee eggs for something for the Queen and Country. For the Queen. Do you know what, mate? I say Queen and Country. Some bastard had a party till 2 o'clock in the morning on my estate last night, and it fucking kept me awake. But at the same time, I used a positive spin to sit there awake and think about my podcast, which I meant I could really, really dive into it. Which is why I jumped on to try and challenge myself. This is about challenging myself. So, yeah, yeah, thanks, buddy, mate. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I didn't see your messages before. It went into dark screen, and for me, it's about. I went to dark screen, so I kind of. It's all right, mate. I've got it all recorded, so you plenty to listen back to. And I want to jump on again because I get so much engagement when you guys are listening. It's really, really fun for me. So yeah, negative thoughts. It's a horrible thing. Teamwork is where it's at, I think. And for me, if you're selfish in your environment, you need to look at yourself. You need to look around yourself and understand. Yeah, thanks, mate. You need to understand everything with regards to being teamwork. I think that teamwork will actually help you. It does help. It certainly helped me remove negativity, because if I've ever been negative in work or my life environment, and I kind of turn around and go, right, I'm having a negative thought process. A lot of the times, my close friends will turn around to me and go, fucking, what are you doing, mate? Why are you being negative? And they'll put the positive spin on it. And sometimes that instant challenge then drags me back into reality and goes, yeah, actually, we can do this. And I certainly do that at work at the moment. There's a guy I work with, and he's a fucking lovely guy. But he's very negative, and he's very negative towards everything around him. So I kind of challenge him quite quickly. I kind of go, look, Colin, let's not fucking harbour negative thoughts here. Let's work together. And we work together as a fucking team, and we actually progress a lot quicker. And we actually become a bit of a force to be reckoned with, especially within health and safety. You can't do it alone. A lot of the old school men, they used to do it alone. And for me personally, I think that's a really fucking shit way of doing it. And I've certainly promoted teamwork, and it's where I've always worked. If we work as a team, things get done faster, things get done quicker, and things get done better. So it's and that connotation really fits with life, and that's where I always talk about harboring the right people around you. It's really important to harbour the right people that are positive around you. And certainly, I've met some great people, and you know, here we are talking to someone in Australia, which is absolutely fantastic. And we've had a great conversation, and hopefully we'll have many, many more. I've got Nelly as well. You know, I've got Kieran, I've got Billy. I've got this little support network that are all positive. And you know, I turned that into a negative last night and went, fucking no one's listening to me, and I kind of shut myself away. Actual fact, no, this is my team. This is my team. I need to engage with my team. I need to promote positivity, and they need to help me get out so I can help them get out. And we work as a team, and that's normally what we do. If any of us have ever felt negative, we always pick each other up. It seems to have dulled, or it seems to sort of dull and die down a little bit when we go into this period of leave. You know, we kind of have this time to manifest things. Sorry, buddy, I'll let you know when I go live. It was, do you know what? Today was a bit impromptu for me because I dwelled so much on yesterday's negativity, and and I know that you listen, and I know that a couple of my other friends listen, and I kind of wanted to undo that straight away because it was really important not to nurture negativity. So I challenged myself last night and went, fuck you doing, mate? So for me, it was about being open and honest and going, that wasn't me. Mental health is not who I am. I'm not going to let mental health define me anymore, which is what this journey is all about. This journey is about understanding and making sure that I can challenge this negativity, challenge my overthinking, to actually go, right, let's put this as positive spin on this. So, and that's what I've done. That's why I jumped on today, just to go, that wasn't me. That was Hyde yesterday. That was Jekyll yesterday. Today's Hyde's back. And that's where the importance came in. I'm going to leave there because I'm going to get, what's this? It depends on your phone. Yeah. Shizzing on the background. Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah. I'll leave it there, guys, because I really need to get some food because it's 11:10 and I've been up, and my daughter's just said, send me some data, please. So I'm getting loads of shit here. So I've got to quickly go and deal with the family. I'll schedule a live in for tonight, and I'll schedule a live in tomorrow as well, just so I can talk to Linger as well, because I would love to hear a little update from him as well. So yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate your support as well. Absolutely fantastic. And sorry I didn't keep breathing. Yeah, mate, definitely. I've been in a bit of a fucking horrible place this last week, and I don't like weeks off. You know, it is, I'm good at breathing. I don't really like having weeks off unless I've got things planned. It's that ADHD aspect of what I've been diagnosed with, I think, and I'm learning about myself. But this is all about challenge, isn't it? So yeah, amazing guys, and thank you for your little comments and stuff. That's really helped me spur on. I didn't expect to see it. I sort of jumped on and was like, oh shit, everyone's talking to me. So thanks for listening, guys, and I really look forward to talking to you again. So yeah, cheers, Linger, mate. You're amazing, and I can't wait to listen to a bit more of your music as well, mate. So keep that